Hey guys, it's Simeon. This is Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 11th of June, 2021 to talk about everything that went down tonight on AEW Dynamite and WWE Smackdown. Friday Night Smackdown, that is. But with that, I thought both shows were pretty good. If I had to say which one was actually better than the other, that's a toughie. I might just barely say Dynamite, even though I do have a couple criticisms on tonight's Dynamite that we'll get all into because we'll talk about that show first. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember, if you are watching on Twitch, you can help us out one of two different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below, or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can subscribe to the channel either with Twitch Prime or for free with Amazon Prime, because if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. With Prime Gaming, you get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to us right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Doesn't cost you anything. If you're already paying Amazon for the Prime shipping or Prime Video or whatever you want to say that you're paying Amazon the $12 a month or whatever it is for, and you get that free subscription, why not help us out here? If you're watching on YouTube over on the flip side, you can help us out in the live chat with a super chat or a super sticker donation. Also, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel as a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access to non-news videos, early access to podcast episodes, a badge next to your name, and emojis you can use in the live chat. Finally, the most direct way you can support us here at Pro Wrestling Unlimited is to subscribe at patreon.com/PW Unlimited. But with that, let's get our poll going. We're going to talk about Dynamite first as we let a few more of you guys jump in. What did you think of tonight's Dynamite? Also, remember, guys, if you want to be part of tonight's show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. Poll is live on Twitch. Head over, put it on YouTube. I liked it. Right. Didn't. All right. Poll is live on both Twitch and YouTube. No, I do not want that pop-up to pop up. So, open this up here really fast. Got to reopen my notes for Dynamite because it froze. Damn Google Chrome sometimes. When you're streaming, Chrome can little. You're using up so much of your computer, your CPU to stream. But with that, we've got Dynamite. The show opens with the Pinnacle arriving in their limousine. And the first thing I noticed, I don't know who put the logo wrap on the front hood of this limousine. Whoever did it in like 10 seconds because it was all wrinkled and bubbled up and not flattened out at all. It looked bad, but regardless, Pinnacle, we see them as they're walking into the arena. Going forward, Matt Hardy is flanked by the Hybrid 2, Angelico and Jack Evans as they address Christian Cage, who Angelico will be taking on. He said that Christian was jealous of how much money he has made and that he would never financially recover from this, Christian that is. Angelico's mission tonight was to injure Christian Cage. And so this match starts, and the first thing I notice is I can't hear Tony Schiavone on commentary. Why? Because they've got so much fake crowd noise pumped in that it's way too loud. I can hear Excalibur, for the most part, pretty well. I can hear Jim Ross all right. But whenever Tony Schiavone talked for some reason, because he was talking, I guess, lower and quieter than the others maybe, I never could make out what he was saying for like a good portion of this show, especially during this first match. This crowd noise was so loud and so heavily piped in that it was just way too much. But with that, early on, they performed some chain wrestling, and Angelico got the better of Christian. Christian smacked him and did the 10 punches in the corner. He stayed on the top rope, but Angelico cut him off and brought him down hard. Angelico targeted Christian's arm. Christian fought back with a couple of strikes and a sunset flip. Angelico tried to turn it into a Navarro death roll, but landed a soccer kick. Before landing a soccer kick, he locked on a modified Ujigatame, forcing Christian to reach the ropes to break the hold. Christian then made his comeback with a reverse tornado DDT. Missile dropkick from Christian off the second rope, got a 2 count. And Angelico then sent Christian to the floor, and Jack Evans tried to get involved. Christian then scared him away and hit a neck breaker on the ropes. A diving headbutt followed for a 2. I thought he was going to go for the frog splash. Nope, went for the headbutt. Going forward, Angelico wrenched Christian's arm to take him down, but Christian countered a dive with an up kick and cradled him for a 2. A kick and a jackknife pin from Angelico got another 2 of his own. They then clonked heads on a ripcord, leading to a double down spot. Christian avoided a corner attack and hit a pendulum kick before driving a diving uppercut. He then went for the kill switch. And why did I write this wrong? He went for the kill switch. Hardy was down. And, I know why I wrote this wrong. He went for the kill switch and picked up the victory on Angelico. After the match, Evans attacked Christian. Matt Hardy jumped in as well. And a Jungle Boy came out to even the odds. For some reason, these 2 paragraphs got written together weird. I don't know why. So Jungle Boy runs out, makes the save, bada bing, bada boom. Why is Jungle Boy still worrying about Christian? This should not be a thing for Jungle Boy, since in 2 weeks he's facing Omega for the title. He does not need to be involved in any of this bullshit. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's cool. Christian and Matt Hardy, they're going at it. Whatever, cool. But it's dumb for Jungle Boy to be involved when he's got his own things to worry about. Going forward, AEW announced that when they get back on the road in July, every show in July will be a specialty themed show. Starting on Wednesday, July 7th, we'll get Road Rager from Miami, Florida. And from the looks of it, this is the new name of their Bash at the Beach show, because they can't use the name Bash at the Beach. Same graphics, same logo treatment for Road Rager, but it's just the new name because they can't use Bash at the Beach anymore. On July 14th, we got Fyter Fest Night 1 from Austin, Texas. On July 21st, we got Fyter Fest Night 2 from Dallas, Texas. And finally, on July 28th, we've got Fight for the Fallen from Charlotte, North Carolina. So every show in the month of July will be a, themed show. And hopefully they don't disappoint. With putting these themed names on the shows, that means they need to come out and blow us away with big matches every single week. Maybe do like the first week we get a world title match. The second week we get a women's world title match. Third week main event is a tag team title match. Fourth week main event, TNT title match, or some iteration of that. We need to have a big the world titles need to be on the line every week, but we need to get a big title match every single week to make all these themed shows feel important and as important as they want us to think they are. Going forward, Cody would come out for an interview, not before Tony Schiavone would troll the crowd and everyone watching TV. He says, next week, we have a big debut coming up on AEW Dynamite. On one side, he's like, we'll have a tag team match. On one side, it will be QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. And on the other, it will be Cody Rhodes teaming with the debuting Brock Anderson, the son of the enforcer, Arn Anderson. And I go, fuck you, Tony Schiavone. You know how many people probably thought you said Brock Lesnar? So he did the whole troll thing with the way he said Brock Anderson. He then brought out Cody, Arn, and Brock. And fucking Brock Anderson came out here wearing a polo, as they would call salmon, polo shirt tucked into his khaki white shorts with the nice brown belt and penny loafers. Looking like a fucking rich kid straight out of Westport, Connecticut. Like, I see this kid and I go, I'm supposed to think he's going to be a threat? Maybe he's a good wrestler, I don't know. But just by the look at him, he comes off as like some little rich kid that got in here because his daddy. And who his daddy is, and maybe his daddy's got money or something. Like, come on. Hopefully he's good. I know he hasn't been training that long. But we'll see where this goes. But Cody said that next week, Brock would steal home base and hit a home run. I believe Brock's a former college baseball player. He said it's a tough standard that dads have for us. You know, his dad was a world champion. His dad regarded as a top tag team wrestler and whatnot. He said, but if anyone can do it, Brock can. And Cody wants his revenge, considering last week he was beaten by Anthony Ogogo. And then no mention of Ogogo this week. Like, why isn't it QT Marshall and Anthony Ogogo this week? Why is it Aaron Solo? Where the fuck is Ogogo? QT Marshall would then interrupt and said that he pinned Cody in the middle of the ring all by himself, just like he came out all by himself. He told Cody that he had enough of this nepotism and passion project. So it's always you and the multi-generational wrestlers. But you're always picking those kids over the students you've had for longer. And that's what causes this problem between the factory and the Nightmare Factory. You picking the new, shinier toy instead of the ones that have been here putting in the work. He said, when we go out on the road, that first show in Miami, I want you in front of a full house. And I'm not just going to say I'm going to whoop your ass. I'm really going to whoop your ass. I want you in a South Beach strap match. Cody goes, you want the match? How about we do the match right now? Cooler heads prevailed. And, well, Marshall pulled off his belt and whipped Arn Anderson across the back with it. Brock then took Marshall down with a double leg before officials ran out to break it all up. I'm not... That's how I feel about this. Meh. There's nothing here that got me excited for QT Marshall and Aaron Solo against Cody Rhodes and Brock Anderson next week. They better do some fucking Road 2 showing us Brock training. Or no one's going to care. Because no one already cares about the Factory versus the Nightmare Factory. No one cares about Cody versus QT. This has been done in a very bad way. It was all done to get over Ogogo, and now it's being all done to bring in and get over Brock Anderson. And what like QT said, passion project does he have next? Anyways, the video played with Eddie Kingston where he said, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. He was there with Penta and Pac. He said that he'd like to work together tonight with Pac, and Pac just stared silently before walking off. Next up, we had Eddie Kingston. Hold on, I'm reading something in the chat. This match make fans so sleep. I hate this match. Fan it. Anyways, never mind. So going forward, we had Eddie Kingston, Pac, and Penta El Cerro Miedo taking on the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler. And there's too much comedy in this match. There was too much comedy with the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler. I mean, Pac and Matt Jackson start the match off where eventually Matt goes, I don't want in. And Nick grabs the hand of Cutler. Matt then tags in Cutler. And Cutler's like, I don't want in. So he does the thing where you grab the ropes and you pull on the ropes. And so the guy holding on the apron front flips over the ropes into the match. He basically hurt his partner, made his partner take a bump before he even got into the match. And this whole thing from here on for a while was fucking Brandon Cutler trying to not get his face hit and running away from Pac, and Kingston then finally tagged in, but Pac tried to tag in, but Pac ignored it and tagged Penta. Penta hit a diving stomp for a 2. Penta ripped open Cutler's tracksuit and stretched him before hitting him with a chop. Kingston finally tagged in, hit repeated knees to the gut, followed by a stomp for a 2. He followed this up with a vertical suplex and an elbow drop for another 2. Pac tagged himself in, leading to Kingston and him exchanging some words, but Pac took the fight to Cutler and implored that the Bucks tag in. Matt did, and was immediately taken down with a hip toss and a drop kick. Nick tripped entering the ring, tripped up, and also tripped up Pac, allowing Matt to hit a drop kick ahead of the commercial. The Bucks and Cutler then controlled throughout the commercial break. Once we came back, Pac kicked his way out to reach Kingston for the hot tag. Kingston sent Matt flying with the belly-to-belly before taking out Nick with an exploder. Penta then tagged in, hit a diving crossbody on both Bucks. Cutler controlled Penta, but Penta got out of the way of a double super kick, and Penta rolled out of a Cazadoro into a destroyer on Nick. Cutler then swept out Penta's legs, but inadvertently ate a kick from Matt in his troubles. Penta then hit a Made in Japan, but Cutler ran in and broke up the pin. Pac tagged in, and Kingston stopped Cutler from hitting Pac with a camera. We then got a parade of big moves, concluded with a step up off the top rope. Penta, Pac then hit the 450 splash on Matt, transitioned into a brutalizer. Nick broke it up. Kingston then cut off Nick with a boot, and he and Pac hit stereo dives on the outside. Matt rolled Pac up with a handful of tights for a good near fall. Pac laid in some kicks, but a kick from Nick allowed Matt to hit an enziguri assisted buckle bomb. Cutler then tagged in, but Pac avoided a springboard leg drop. Kingston killed Cutler with a spinning back fist, allowing Pac to pin him and pick up the victory. So Pac does pick up the victory here tonight in the 6-man tag team match. Bucks then immediately attack after the match, and they're joined by the Good Brothers. Frankie Kazarian, who they now call the Elite Hunter, which this was a gimmick Yoshitatsu had in New Japan, where he was the Bullet Club Hunter. Him and, I want to say, Billy Gunn. But, I mean, this match was all right. It had its moments, but it was too much comedy for me. Way too much comedy for me in this match with Brandon Cutler. Just too much for me to take any of this seriously. A video then played trying to reveal a conspiracy to screw Kenny Omega out of the AEW World title. This was all comedy, mocking documentaries like Dark Side of the Ring. It presented Omega as the beloved champion, defying the odds. Fife Dog, I never said either of these shows were great. I just said that Dynamite was better than SmackDown by just a little bit. But I never said either show was great. I mean, if I'm going to criticize Dynamite, I felt like they had too much on the show, and everything seemed like it was on fast forward. A lot of segments felt sped up and rushed to try and get as much on the show as possible. The Pinnacle comes out. Harwood says that Stampede didn't go their way because it's not their kind of a match. He called it a match suitable for Santana and Ortiz and said that they and FTR, they weren't that different. They both overcame adversity and made something of themselves. The difference is that Santana and Ortiz lost their edge. Harwood said he's got a wife and a kid, and he uses that to fill his edge and his bank account. Wheeler says, I don't got a family, and I don't care what I think he said, I don't give a shit about you and yours. FTR worked together. He said, we've worked together to build our legacy. You two have been here for 2 years and haven't even won the tag titles yet. We won them in our first couple of months in the company. Then said Guevara got lucky when he pinned him. He said it's ridiculous that Jericho called him a hero last week. Guevara's nothing more than a glorified indie wrestler. The Pinnacle are professionals, and Spears, he's the real hero here. Wardlow then said that Hager is obsessed with him. He says he brings out the best in Hager, and that's why Hager likes to fight him. He said, Hager, you've invited me into your comfort zone, into the octagon. You want to fight? You want to fight inside of the cage? You've got it next week. No matter where they are. He said, Wardlow says that they will always rule this world. MJF said that he is tired of acting like he has something to prove because he's already proved that he's the best. He said being the best is daunting, and it brings the pressure. He grew up idolizing Chris Jericho. He said, I watched all of his matches. I read all of his books. And back in 2019, at the Double or Nothing rally, I saw Jericho in the back. My heart was beating a mile a minute. They didn't have the he said he didn't have the opportunity to work with Jericho yet. That they should have been a dream. It should have been a dream come true, and it hasn't been. He said that has haunted him till now. He said he had been idolizing a false god. He thought that he would be like Jericho, but Jericho's not even on MJF's level. He already beat Jericho twice, so there's no reason for him to face Jericho again. MJF would then address Sammy Guevara, calling him a chicken shit. Guevara says that MJF says that Guevara doesn't belong in the ring with him because he's better than Guevara and he knows it. And then we hear Jericho, "Hey Max, look over here. Just want to tell you that tonight looks like you're going to be walking home." And the Pinnacle destroyed, the Inner Circle destroyed the Pinnacle's limo. Cool. A little cheesy, but whatever. In the end, Jake Hager had a forklift. He rammed the forklift forks right into the limo, raised it up, looked like he was trying to flip it, and it wouldn't flip, so he just dropped it back down. In the back, Darby Allin answered the challenge of Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Basically, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky said, "We want you in another tag match, but without your security blanket Sting. Pick a different opponent or pick a different partner." And Darby said, "I accept your challenge, but I won't pick another partner. And I won't be having Sting with me either. I'll take you guys on in a handicap match. Sting, stay home." Sting said, "I'm concerned. Like, you don't need to do this. You don't need to prove yourself to them. When I came into this company, you were the TNT champion." Darby said, "I'm not stupid. I know what I'm getting into. I want to prove to them that they can't be beat, or that I can beat them." Sting said, "Fine. You got nothing to prove." Allin told Sting, "I need you to stay home." After some hesitation, they bumped fists, and Sting walked out of camera. We got a really good video from Evil Uno. This is actually from the Road 2 from this week. Talked about the relationship between Evil Uno and Mr. Brody Lee. He called Brody one of his best friends. And Uno said he'd be thrilled not only to bring the TNT title back to the Dark Order, but do it for Mr. Brody Lee. But at the same time, selfishly, he wants it for himself. So next up, we had the TNT title match, Miro versus Evil Uno. I had fun with this match. I thought this match was really good. Miro overpowered Uno right away. He laid in body shots until Uno came back with a knife-edge chop. Miro shrugged him off, but was sent to the floor. He then dragged Uno to the floor as well, but Uno avoided a right hand, and Miro punched the ring post. We then saw a cannonball from Uno. Back in the ring, Miro cut Uno off with a back suplex, beating him down throughout a commercial break. Once back, a running shoulder block from Miro sent Uno to the floor. Stu Grayson and Alan Angles would run out to fire up Uno, and Uno barely made it back into the ring before the 10 count. He made it back at like 9. Miro then rolled to the floor and sent Grayson over the barricade before pursuing Angles. Uno then came back with a jawbreaker before laying in some forearms. A running Hurricane Rana took down Miro, as did a Brody Lee-esque big boot. Uno climbed to the top rope and landed a Senton Atomico, but Miro kicked out a 1. The rest of the Dark Order would run out onto the ramp to cheer on Evil Uno. Uno stomped on Miro's hand and landed another forearm, but Miro caught a crossbody and rolled Uno up for a 2. Miro was then set into the turnbuckle and crashed down on the mat before kicking out at 2. Uno covered for a great near fall here. Uno then called for the Brody Lee discus lariat, but Miro shrugged it off and leveled Uno with a clothesline of his own before locking in the game over and forcing Evil Uno to tap. We then got a quick vignette on Andrade El Idolo, and we learned that next week he will do a sit-down with Jim Ross. Also, Andrade El Idolo's, I guess you could say, tagline or nickname is Face of Latinos, because it said around the screen, Andrade El Idolo, Face of Latinos. Next up, Kenny Omega and Don Callis came out. Callis called Jungle Boy a one-hit wonder, just like the guys that sing his theme song. Said he wondered, he's a one-hit wonder for outlasting 20 other men in the Casino Battle Royale. Omega's not going to act like Jungle Boy is some incredible challenger or anything, but he can't bring himself to say anything disparaging about Jungle Boy because he sees Jungle Boy as a younger version of himself. He said one day, Jungle Boy might be the champion, but there's something Jungle Boy is missing. Omega asked what Jungle Boy may be missing, and Callis said he's got no guts. Jungle Boy's music then played, and he came out, and again, loud crowd noise trying to do the oh. Yeah. Omega said that he's surprised, but he's never known Jungle Boy of being a promo guy or anything. So what he's going to do, come out here and just stare at him? Does he want to fight right now? He knows that Jungle Boy has nothing to say because he doesn't have guts. He asked Callis if anyone was better on the mic than him. And I'm just like, well, I can name a couple. Roman Reigns has been cutting really good promos. Fucking Adam Cole's been cutting really good promos. Just to name a few. Don Callis said no, and he gave Jungle Boy 5 seconds to speak. Jungle Boy simply said, you talk too much. Omega tried to go for a cheap shot. Jungle Boy ducked it and knocked down Omega. Omega and Jungle Boy then went at it before Omega raked the eyes of Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy fought out and tried to lock Omega in the snare trap, but he saw the Young Bucks coming and ran off. It's crazy how every week I see Jungle Boy and I just go, he's going to be the world champion one day. He looks better and better every single week I see him. It's just like, he's going to eventually be the AEW world champion. He's not going to beat Kenny Omega, no. But he will eventually be that champion. Also, I don't know why I was thinking this tonight, but I go, he can't cut his hair. If he cuts his hair, he can't do the Tarzan Jungle Boy gimmick. And the other thing is if he cuts his hair, then if he cuts it short, he will look way too much like his dad. Because he already looks a lot like his dad. Like Luke Perry. And if he cut his hair short, he would literally be his spitting image. Like, if he cut his hair like his dad had his hair on 90210, you would literally think he was his dad reincarnated. Like, he looks that much like his dad. But regardless, I don't know why I was thinking that tonight. Next up, we got Jade Cargill and Mark Sterling. They just cut a promo saying he's her representative and she's making more money now. He said every time she says her catchphrase, we get residuals. We make money off of it. So say the catchphrase. She says, I'm that bitch. Okay. Did nothing for me. Same with this. Did nothing for me. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. He said, Scorpio Sky said he and Ethan Page gave Allin an opportunity, and he didn't take it. This is the dumbest decision Allin's ever made, he said. Page would go on to say that all actions have consequences. They've already done all the things they could to Allin. What he's going to endure next week will be himself getting pinned in the middle of the ring. They then called themselves the Men of the Year. So is that their tag team name? Their group name? Men of the Year? We already got the fucking the Wingmen. We got the Wingmen, and then we got the Men of the Year. Like, fuck. Too many groups. Next up, Lance Archer came out, beat up some guy named Chandler Hopkins, and then went to the back. This match ended as quick as it started. Like, literally, that was it. Ran out, quick springboard, choke slam, bada bing, bada boom. Archer didn't even celebrate. Archer whipped this guy's ass, left, and Jake looked at him like, going to the back already? Okay. Speaking of the Wingmen, they spoke about, Orange Cassidy. Nick Nemeth said that Orange Cassidy is poorly dressed, so they invited him for a makeover. Either they can remake his wardrobe, or Cesar Bononi can rearrange his face. Next up, we got a match that went way too fucking long. Way too long. Nyla Rose versus Leyla Hirsch. The match itself was all right at best, but it did not need to go this long. It did not need to go through a commercial break. This match would have been fine at about 4 minutes. No, it went about 7, 8 minutes. Rose attacked before the bell. The whole thing here is that Nyla Rose keeps calling Leyla Hirsch short. Hirsch surprised Rose with a cross-arm breaker, forcing Rose to hit the ropes. She laid in repeated forearms and a shotgun dropkick, sending Rose to the floor, but Rose intercepted a tope and sent Hirsch into the ring. They brawled on the floor. Hirsch tried to get the armbar back in, and Nyla countered it by swinging Leyla Hirsch into the barricade. Back in the ring after a break, Hirsch landed a released German suplex and a Shining Wizard. She followed up with a step-up moonsault, but Rose grabbed the ropes for the on the cover. Hirsch went for the cross-arm breaker, but Rose powdered out with a one-arm powerbomb. Rose then draped Hirsch over the top rope, but took too long on the follow-up. They fought up top, and Rose sent Hirsch to the mat. Hirsch popped up and went for a top rope Frankensteiner, but Rose caught it and landed an avalanche beast bomb to pick up the victory. Again, the match was all right at best and did not need to go this long at all. At all. So after the match, immediately after the match, actually, they sent it to Tony Schiavone in the back in some stairwell with Britt Baker and Rebel. She addressed Nyla Rose, saying that she was mad about Nyla interrupting her celebration last week. She admonished Rose for making fun of Hirsch's height. Baker said that she's already the best champ this company's ever had. Said Rose needs this title to be something. But the title is something because I hold it. She said Nyla Rose is nothing more than another jealous bitch in the back. Two things you go on to say that this is my division. I made this division. You can thank yours truly, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Then they got a lineup for next week's show. Jim Ross will have a sit-down with Andrade El Idolo. Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers will take on Eddie Kingston, Penta, and Frankie Kazarian. Very weird pairings here. Very weird pairings. I get why you do Eddie, Penta, and Frankie, because Pac and Eddie weren't getting along. Frankie came out and made the save, whatever. But just randomly, Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers? Not Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Cutler, or Matt, Nick, and Anderson, or very weird that it's just Matt with the Good Brothers. Anyways, Orange Cassidy will take on Cesar Bononi in a handicap match 2-on-1, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page against Darby Allin. In an MMA rules cage fight, which the graphic shows an octagon. I don't know if they're going to actually have an octagon. It's Jake Hager versus Wardlow. And finally, Cody Rhodes and the debuting Brock Anderson against QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. Also, they announced, well, they're not announced, but they reminded us that on Saturday, July 26th, Kenny Omega will defend the AEW World title against Jungle Boy. We then go on to our main event, Hangman Page and Preston 10 Vance against Team Taz. And boy, did this match feel long. Another match that felt like it went longer than it needed to. And we see more dissension on Team Taz. Cage and Page started off this match with Cage repeatedly throwing shoulders into Page's midsection. Page turned it around, beating Cage down in the corner. Both men had each other scouted, avoiding big moves until Page hit a running shooting star. Cage then came back with a hip toss and a backbreaker. Ken made the blind tag and laid in strikes on Brian Cage. He sent Cage into the corner and landed a running pump kick, but Hobbs cut him off with a kick, allowing Team Taz to take control. An assisted powerbomb got a 2 as Hobbs tagged in. Ken got a brief flurry of offense, but was cut off with a kitchen sink knee as we went to the commercial break. Once back, 10 landed on his feet off of an F5 attempt and took down Cage with a pump kick. Hobbs made the blind tag, but 10 took him out with another pump kick, allowing him to reach Page for the hot tag. Hobbs shrugged off a lariat and a power slam. Page went for the plancha on Cage, and Cage caught him. But Page countered this into a Hurricane Rana on the floor. Basically sent Brian Cage shoulder first into the barricade. Back in the ring, a moonsault press from Page to Hobbs got a 2. He went for the buckshot lariat, but Hobbs cut him off with the running crossbody before 10 broke up the pin attempt. 10 was then thrown into the ropes where Cage hit a Tiger Feint kick, but Cage took him out with a springboard clothesline as well. 10 then tagged in and hit a springboard on Hobbs. Hobbs then forced 10 into the corner, allowing for a tag to Cage. Cage landed a flurry of offense on 10, and they followed this up with the low high with Hobbs, but 10 kicked out at 2. Hook then caused the distraction of the referee as Starks threw the FTW title to Cage, but Cage didn't want it and threw it out. Starks then slapped Cage. Cage got mad, and the two ran to the back, with Taz yelling on commentary, "What are we doing here? What the hell's going on? Cage, get back out here. Hobbs is all by himself. What the hell, Cage? Cage." And they double teamed Cage. Hobbs did take down 10 at one point with the spine buster, but it wasn't enough. Hobbs then sent Page to the floor, but 10 hit a ripcord cutter, and Page hit the buckshot lariat, allowing 10 to pin Hobbs. After the match, -1 and the rest of Dark Order would come out to celebrate, and I thought it was funny. They go, "Beers for everyone in this celebration." Oh, and water for -1. -1 and Colt Cabana drank water as everybody else in the Dark Order celebrated with beers. And that was AEW Dynamite. An all right show. All right, I'd say good show. I felt the pacing was a little off. Things seemed rushed to get as much on this damn show as possible. The very loud fake crowd noise was very disputting. Like, it took me out a couple times because I couldn't hear the commentary. And other than that, we built up to some things next week. David in the chat says, Arn Anderson's son outfit. Worst dressed debut ever. I'm telling you, he looked like a fucking little rich kid from he looked like him and his family just got back from the Hamptons. You know that movie White Chicks, where they go on the vacation or whatever, up to the Hamptons, where all the rich people are? He looked like he just came from there. Got off of their boat, and he was going over to the country club to get a drink or something. He just looked like some damn rich kid that no one's going to take serious. But with that wasn't the only show we had tonight. We also had Friday Night Smackdown, but let's check the polls first for AEW Dynamite. As far as the Twitch poll does go, 60% of you liked tonight's show, with 40% thinking it was just all right. As far as the YouTube poll goes, 63% of you liked tonight's AEW Dynamite, 19% thought it was all right, and 19% did not like it. Throw up a poll for SmackDown really fast. New poll. What did you think of tonight's SmackDown? Liked it. It was right. I didn't like it. Throw another poll up on YouTube. Liked it. All right. I didn't like it. All right. As far as Friday Night Smackdown does go, so started off with a video package showing everything that happened last week on the show. It then zoomed out on the video package to show Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and Jimmy Uso watching in the locker room. Roman said that Roman and Jimmy watched the recap as Jimmy admitted that they let the family down. Roman said, "What do I hate the most?" And Jay said it, letting the family down. Reigns noted that Jay knows that, and Jimmy doesn't. And he needs to go take care of his brother. And then all of a sudden, we hear the music of the Usos hit when Jimmy Uso comes out to the ring to cut a promo. Jimmy Uso made his way to the ring. He said, "Last week, we should have had a celebration. We got robbed. Twice. First, the referee blew the count. Everybody in the Thunderdome saw that. Then, we got our rematch." However, Jimmy said he was furious because Roman interfered and caused that match to end. He wondered if Roman got them disqualified on purpose. Jimmy says Roman is jealous of me. Jimmy wants to reform the Usos and win the tag team titles. But Roman wants to be the only champion, the only one that says that he's doing this for the family. Cuts back to the locker room where Reigns, Jay, and Heyman are still watching. Jimmy said that he knows that Roman is brainwashing his brother. So he promised that later tonight, he's going to do something he won't regret. We go back to the locker room. Reigns told Jay, I'm not your twin. I'm not even your brother. He's your brother, and you need to take care of this problem. After the break, Jay approached Jimmy in the hallway. Jimmy got Jay to admit that he thought they were going to win the titles last week. Jimmy was furious that Jay didn't have his back, though, and walked out on him. Jimmy called Reigns a family disgrace. Jay got back in Jimmy's face. He noted that he's been with Reigns while Jimmy was out injured. Jimmy told Jay that Reigns can come find him in our locker room. Next up, we had a tag team match. Kevin Owens and Big E against Sami Zayn and Apollo Crews. Fun opening match of the night. I thought this match was really fun. Owens ran wild early, attacking both Zayn and Crews. He went to the floor and beat him around ringside. Crews took the advantage, jumped Owens from behind to take over the action. The heels isolated Owens on their side of the ring. Big E finally did get a hot tag and ran wild. Crews briefly took over, but Big E hit a Uranagi for a close near fall. Big E attempted to spear off the apron, but Crews moved, and Big E crashed hard on the floor. Back from the break, the heels were firmly in control. They isolated Big E on their side of the ring and cut him off from Owens. Zayn slowed down the pace with the chin lock. Big E tried to break free, but the heels regained control. Crews missed a frog splash, and Owens and Zayn both targeted at the same time. Owens beat down Zayn and sent him out of the ring. Owens followed this up with a cannonball off the apron and a senton on the floor. Owens then hit a cannonball in the corner and a swanton for a close near fall. Owens hit a super kick, a really good super kick. Like, this was a perfectly extended, straight out super kick. And a pop-up powerbomb for a near fall on Crews before Sammy broke up the pin. Zayn then hit a blue thunder bomb on Owens for a near fall, but Big E broke that pin up. Big E and Crews took nasty-looking falls out of the ring as Big E clotheslined Crews over the top rope. Big E appeared to land on top of Crews very awkwardly. However, Zayn missed a haluva kick and Owens hit a stunner for the victory. After the match, Crews claimed that they lost because he got teamed up with a loser in Sami Zayn. He called Zayn an idiot. Crews then challenged Owens and Big E to another match. He said, next week, you two against me. And he pauses for a second, and Big E goes, and he goes, my Commander Aziz. So Aziz gonna have his first official match. Like, he's fought on Raw Underground when he was Babatunde or whatever they called him then. But now he's gonna have his first official in-ring match. Zayn jumps in the ring furious, though. He goes, I'm an idiot? You call me an idiot? This is just a conspiracy. What are you, working with Owens to make me look bad? And then Commander Aziz hit him with a Nigerian nail. Which basically is just Umaga's old move. The Samoan spike, I think they called it. Same thing. It's the thumb right into your throat. So in the back, Ray was passionately speaking to Adam Pearce. They then recapped the angle between the Alpha Academy and the Street Profits. In the back, Chad Gable approached Street Profits and goes, hey, I want to apologize for what we saw last week. Otis got a little defensive. He shouldn't have done what he did in attacking you guys. So, to show you guys that I'm sorry, I got our tag team match canceled. Don't got to do it. And Street Profits like, you got our match canceled? Why? No. That's not what we wanted. They then made fun of Chad Gable before he goes, oh, you want to make fun of me? Fine. Me versus one of you tonight. And Dawkins is like, I got him. And Ford goes, no, I've got him, fam. I've got him. Let me take this one. And Dawkins is like, are you sure about this? And he says, yes, let me take this. So, to make the match, Gable has one more request. I won't bring out Otis. You don't bring out Dawkins. He said, okay, fine. And before he left, he goes, oh, and by the way, Otis is still mad. In Roman's locker room, Jay comes in And he tells Roman, Jimmy said he'll talk to you, but you got to go to our locker room for it. And Reigns is like, called it our locker room, your locker room. Wow. Reigns then promised to go and see Jimmy later. Next up, we had Liv Morgan and what they're now calling the most beautiful woman in WWE, Carmella. Match was all right. Basically the same thing they did last week. 50-50 booking, though. They flipped it around. Liv got the win instead of Carmella. Morgan attacked Carmella at the bell. She backed Carmella into the corner and beat her down. Carmella dragged Morgan outside the ring and sent her into the apron. Carmella told Michael Cole, "Let everybody know that I'm beautiful, Michael." He goes, "Well, you're self-proclaimed the most beautiful woman." She goes, "Self-proclaimed?" And Pat McAfee's like, "How can you say that, Michael Cole?" I love Pat McAfee on commentary. He's great because we know that McAfee's calling this stuff like a shoot because they're doing this whole stuff with Carmella and Liv Morgan, and a cameraman gets knocked over. And Pat McAfee just goes, "Carmella's so beautiful. We got men falling over here. Look at the cameraman just falling over because he can't contain himself around Carmella's beauty." I'm just like, God, you gotta love Pat McAfee and the way he can improvise. He can improvise so well. Carmella then yelled at Liv Morgan, pushed her around a little bit. Carmella missed a super kick. Morgan hit the Oblivion and picked up the victory. After the match, Carmella called over Greg Hamilton, and he made the announcement. And still, though, the most beautiful woman in WWE, Carmella. And I think it was Pat McAfee goes, "Well, at least she's still got that, Michael Cole." Yeah, I love Pat McAfee. Then we got a horrible segment. Ding dong. Hello. This was god awful. This was just garbage of a segment. Bayley welcomes everybody to Ding Dong Hello, the greatest talk show on all of television. And she noted she's updated her sets with new pictures of herself. She then introduced her guest, Seth freaking Rollins. Seth came out, used the door, and admitted he's a huge fan of Bayley. He then put over Bayley very heavily, saying that she's going to beat Bianca Belair and this and that, and da-da-da-da-da. And Rollins wondered, what's with kids today anyways? Bayley goes, "I don't know." Rollins says he has no doubt that Bayley's going to beat Bianca. What do you call her? Belanca, I think is what he called her. They both laughed, and Rollins showed footage of Bayley laughing last week. After watching the footage, Bayley and Rollins laughed uncontrollably and very awkwardly. Bayley then showed footage of Rollins attacking Cesaro, and then the two laughed again. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Ding, ding. And they're like, "What? Huh? Who is it?" And Seth goes, "I'll be the gentleman. I'll get the door for you." And Bayley's like, "Oh, why, thank you." He opens the door, and it looks like he's seen a ghost. No, he saw Cesaro. Cesaro beats down Seth Rollins, messes up the set, and Seth Rollins runs away. Cesaro leaves the ring. Bayley is upset that her set has been ruined, and out comes Bianca Belair. And what does she do? She laughs at Bayley. This was so awful bad. Then recap Roman Reigns attacking Rey and Dominic from last week. In the back, Megan Morant interviewed Rey Mysterio. She said the footage is hard to watch, but especially for you, Dominic's father. Rey said that he was devastated. Now, he wants to call out Roman Reigns. He's furious that Roman would target his family. He promised to call out Roman later. Next up, we had Chad Gable versus Montez Ford. Two had a good match, but the finish just really killed any vibes that they had. Gable and Ford started off with some mat wrestling. Ford targeted the arm, but Gable broke free. Gable slowed down the pace and worked over the arm as well. Gable used a deep arm drag, but Ford recovered. Ford slowed down the pace, but Gable broke free. They showed Angelo Dawkins watching in the back. Ford attempted a leapfrog, but Gable grabbed the leg, locked him down, and put on the ankle lock. Ford eventually reversed it into a near fall. Gable rolled to the floor, and Ford attempted a dive, but Gable grabbed the leg. Ford broke free. Ford then hit a dive on Gable. Back from the break, Gable hit a back suplex on Ford. Ford ended up on the apron and fought back. He attempted to springboard into the ring, but Gable caught him with a Northern Lights suplex for a near fall. Otis in the back then would go to attack Angelo Dawkins. Ford then hit a spine buster for a close near fall. Ford slowly climbed to the top rope for a frog splash. hit it, went for the pin, but Gable kicked out at the last possible second. Otis then jumped into the ring and caused a disqualification. Otis might have missed his cue a little bit to break up the pin, I think. It looked like Otis was supposed to break up the pin, but was just that slightly late. I think that's what happened here. Otis then attacked forward, gave him a vicious beatdown. Dawkins tried to come out to make the save, and he got beat down as well. Next up, we had Shinsuke Nakamura versus King Corbin. Exact same thing from last week. Well, actually, the last 3 weeks. Only difference was they cut Nakamura's entrance. Go back from the break. Corbin and Nakamura were standing in the ring. Neither guy got an entrance. The bell rang. Boog started playing guitar, distracted Corbin, but Corbin tried to fight back. Nakamura rocked Corbin with a knee, and there we go. Commentary. Michael Cole explained that Corbin and Nakamura are fighting for the crown. Nakamura did pick up the victory. Not much to talk about here. In Reigns' dressing room, Reigns decided it's time to go talk to Jimmy. Corbin then stormed into Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville's office. He said, I'm furious. How are you going to let this happen? They just steal my crown? Make them give it back. Basically like, Daddy, you stole my toy. Make me give my toy back. And Adam Pearce goes, you know what? I got a better idea. But next week, you two have a match. A battle for the crown. The winner gets the crown. Whatever. So, we go to the Usos' locker room. Reigns and Jay approach Jimmy. Reigns and Jimmy argued while Jay stood in the middle of them. Jay finally said, you know what? I've had enough. I'm tired of all this. And he walked off. Jimmy then got in Roman's face and said, is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted, Us? You know what? Let's go right here, right now. You want to throw hands? You want to fight? You want me? Let's do it. And then Roman cuts just a hell of a promo. He's like, I don't want to fight you. Jimmy was like, this is what you've been doing our whole childhood. You always tried to put a wedge between us. You always tried to tear us apart for your gain. And Roman goes, this is about family. This is about us doing what we need to do for the family. That is your brother. You came out first, didn't you? That means you're the older brother. I shouldn't have to worry about taking care of you. No. But as the older brother, you may need to go take care of your brother. You may need to go see if he is all right. And I'm just like, damn. Wow. Roman basically said, you're the older one. I've never had to worry about you like I have to worry about Jay. Now, it's time for you to go figure out what's exactly wrong with your brother and go help him and make sure he's all right. I was just like, damn, the way that promo came off, because the whole night I'm like, why is Roman talking so soft-spoken? The whole night he's like, no, Jay, take care of your brother. That's your twin, not mine. But then when he cut that promo, holy crap. He was just passion among passion. Reigns then, Jimmy walks off. Roman puts a shoulder over his title. And this was great. This was probably the best segment on either show. I'm going to say it right now. From Jimmy talking about how you've done this to us our whole lives. You've tried to tear us apart. You've always tried to pick one of us for your gain. He's like, Jay, you know that I'm not telling a lie. And finally, Jay was just like, I'm over this. But when Roman cut that promo saying, I don't have to worry about you. You came out first. You're the older one. You're the big brother, technically. You need to go and take care of your little brother. You need to watch out for him and make sure you know what's wrong. I'm just like, dang. So is that what it really is? Roman's always felt that Jimmy had the shoulder on his head and everything, like, knew what he needed to do, but felt that Jay was the one that always needed the guidance and help. That's how it came off to me. I don't know if that's what we were supposed to think, but that's how it came off to me. That he always felt confident that Jimmy knew what he was doing, but Jay always needed that push and that little bit of extra confidence given to him. That's how I took this promo. Then Rey Mysterio comes out. That's a good promo. We had a good segment here. Rey noted that Reigns disrespected him and his family, and he demands that Roman Reigns come out. Reigns took his time and slowly walked down to the ring with Paul Heyman. Reigns got in the ring and posed with the belt. Bray waited and watched in the corner. Bray said, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge you, Roman. I acknowledge you as a man that is willing to fight. Or no, he said, I acknowledge you as a man that does underhanded things. That does whatever he needs to, but not in the right way. That I acknowledge you as a man. And I'm willing to fight even if I lose that fight. I acknowledge you as the guy that I want to fight inside Hell in a Cell. Bray noted that he laid out the challenge. And Reigns says, well, I acknowledge you, Ray. He started to talk, and then all of a sudden, a kendo stick flew into the ring. Ray grabbed the kendo stick and started to beat Roman down with it. Roman would go on the attack. He set Ray up for a powerbomb, and Ray hit Roman over the head with the kendo stick. Reigns then hit a Superman punch and set it for the spear. Suddenly, he was attacked with another kendo stick, this time by Dominic. Reigns recovered and gave Dominic a powerbomb out of the ring. Basically, over the top rope to the floor below. Probably had a crash pad set in there, whatever. I don't know. The way the camera angle showed it, they had a great camera angle where the camera guy was basically like down on the ground like this. So it looked like fucking Dominic came from like 8 feet up and just crashed because the cameraman is like right here and Dom comes in like this. So by the time he hits the ground, he's already past the camera guy's view, so we don't see how he landed. Camera then cuts wide, and we see Dominic just writhing in pain on the floor. Referees come out to check on him and everything. Ray then fought back at Roman. He went to check on Dominic. Roman kicks him in the head, and they separate everybody as the show goes off the air. But with that was Friday Night Smackdown. The Smackdown was a good show as well. Overall, I felt Dynamite may have been slightly better, but the best segment of the night was that segment in the Usos locker room with Roman and Jay going back and forth. But with that, let's check the SmackDown poll. 67% of you on Twitch liked SmackDown, so that means more of you on Twitch liked SmackDown than Dynamite. 33% thought, 33% didn't like tonight's show. Pretty even as far as who liked what on YouTube. Both polls, I believe. No, slightly more of you liked SmackDown. 68% of you liked SmackDown tonight. 18% thought it was just all right. And 15% did not like tonight's SmackDown. With that, let's check the text messages, see what you guys thought about tonight's shows. Not many text messages, really. Only got a couple. This person said, are the Nexus returning? No, not that I know of. Person says, I thought Dynamite was great. What match are you looking forward to next week? How excited are you for Andrade and AEW? And who do you think can stop Miro for the TNT title? I don't know who's going to stop Miro because I think Miro should hold that title for a very long time. As far as Andrade goes, didn't get the greatest reception from the fans last week. So I kind of want to see him again in front of a live crowd and see how they receive him. Because that crowd last week just seemed like, it's a guy. And this last text message says, do you think WWE has ruined Bayley? And is it me or is it Ding Dong Hello segment get worse every time? They do. And I don't think they've ruined Bayley, but they've just made her more comedy than she needs to be. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do so. Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Search for us on Instagram by searching for Pro Wrestling Unlimited and follow us on Twitter @PW Unlimited. But with that, guys, we will be live right back here this Sunday night for NXT TakeOver in your house. So with that, I will see you guys on Sunday for TakeOver. Have a great rest of your weekend or kick off to your weekend and weekend. I'll see you Sunday. Have a good one. All right, guys, if you're